welcome to my channel. So today I was going to do my long-awaited birth center vlog as far as why we're choosing a birth center, some pros and cons, and just basic information that I want to share with everyone. I'm hoping this video is not too long, but let me be straight up honest, it is something that I'm super passionate about, so it might be long. But I took P's advice and I did write a little script, so if I'm looking down, I'm looking at that. So first, I'm going to start with why we chose a birthing center, or why we are choosing a birthing center. Let me take a drink of water because this is going to be lovely. So, the why. I have always been interested in the birthing center. Since I've been in high school, I would look at this birthing center and I was just captivated by the midwife and the center. So once I got old enough and I had the chance to go there, I was just so excited. And I met the midwife, our midwife, in person, and I just loved it even more. And P never opposed it, and we did look into different hospitals. You know, I am one of 4 girls, and all of them have had children. Each one of them has 3, and they've all had hospital births. But just being there and experiencing that through them, it just didn't feel like it was for me. I have looked at C-section rates and everything like that, and I just can't move through it. That's my main reason, is that I've always been super interested in it. And like I've said, we have looked at hospitals. We have done some research, and it just always brings us back to the birthing center. So last year when I went there for a PAP, it was just the most amazing place to be. You just want to hang out there all day. It's so calming. It's so amazing. All the people there are so amazing. So the next reason is that I obviously want to do all natural with no drugs. And when you're at the birthing center, you literally have no option. But it's best to be in water and have all those tools there, unlike hospitals. The position that hospitals put you in on your back is just not the optimal position for labor and makes things a lot harder. So I'm happy to be able to not be in that position. My mom had me with no epidural or anything, and I have the whole video. I've watched it, and I just think that I can do it. I think that anybody can do it. It's just getting in your mind and having the right people and things around you. I don't want to say that I don't trust doctors, because there are some great doctors out there, but you need to find them. There are plenty of doctors that are not ethical, they're not kind, they're not caring, they're in it for money, and that's it. And that's really an unfortunate thing. Luckily here, sorry, I'm looking at my focusing mark. Luckily here, we have such a good general physician. We both love him. So no complaints about that, but you really do need to be watching yourself, watching your doctors, making sure you agree with their diagnosis, making sure you agree with what they're giving you or having you do. It's just big. You need to trust yourself, and you need to trust your doctor, and it should be great communication. And a lot of the times when you deliver in hospitals, it's not the same person that you've been having. It's not your OBGYN. It's whoever is on call that night. So by chance you might get your doctor, but typically you'll get another doctor. That would be hard for me, having somebody that you're not familiar with. I struggled for a long time trying to find an OBGYN, and most of them were male, and I just was not comfortable with that. That's not what I wanted, and the women are usually very booked up. Obviously, other people aren't comfortable with that either. So, it's just an interesting thing. So, like I talked about before, the C-section rate in most hospitals is insane. We're in California, and the few hospitals that I considered were all about 30-some% C-section rate, which is just so high to me. So one thing that might be helpful for you to know is that some hospitals do have midwives as well as nurses, and you can also hire a midwife or a doula to come to the hospital with you. So that's also an option. So there's a lot of things that come into play here. You need to figure out what's right for you. Whatever works for me and my family in my videos, I'm showing you an example, but you need to figure out how it works for you in your life. You should not be doing the same exact things. It doesn't work for everybody. So I hope to give you information that you can use and apply it to your own life in any way you can. So the next thing is induction. We don't believe in being induced. That's always been like such a weird thing for me. I never believed in that. I never thought that was a positive thing. And most people that get induced end up with a C-section. It's a scary thing, but only 5% of people deliver on their due date. That is such a low number. So people always think that like, oh, it's my due date, the baby's coming that day. That's not how it works. And then they're like, oh, we've waited 3 days, we've waited a week. Let's just get that baby out. It's just a hard thing because the way they estimate it, the baby might be earlier than you think. Like the baby might not have been conceived when they're assuming. So it's a weird thing. And some people believe in it, some people don't. But for us, that's just not what we want. And also the education about infants. And for new moms, I think that birthing centers offer a lot more. Hospitals, I know people that have left the hospital without even knowing if they should give their baby water or not. That has been a question that was asked to me with a brand new baby. First-time parents. How could anybody leave the hospital without knowing that? How could anybody leave the hospital without knowing how often to feed their baby? How could anybody leave the hospital without knowing that your breast milk doesn't come in the first day? And if your milk doesn't come in the first day, it's okay because baby stomachs aren't that big. You should not be supplementing with formula. It's a hot topic for me, but that's something huge that I think hospitals fail at. A lot of hospitals. I won't say every single hospital, but just in my experience and from what I know and have seen, it's just really a negative thing a lot of the time. So the difference, they do not do fetal monitoring during labor. You know, when you go to the hospital, you get hooked up like crazy and you're monitored the whole time. At the birthing centers, it's not typical that they do that. They'll just monitor a few times during labor. But having all those monitors on the baby, they are sending signals and it does cause extra stress on the baby and you. Who wants to be hooked up to all those machines? The one thing that drives me insane every time I've gone to see someone in the hospital that has a baby, that IV that is right here in your hand, I cannot handle it. Oh, it stresses me out just thinking about it. It is the worst looking thing. It looks so painful. Oh, I cannot deal with that. With the birthing center, they're available all the time. You can contact through social media, through internet, via email, you can call. They're always available to you, whereas the hospital's not so much like that. The hospital sees you a lot of the times as a dollar sign. You're inconveniencing them if you are there for longer than they want you there or need you there. So that's the hard part. There are some great nurses in those departments, but there are some not so great nurses and some not so great doctors that sometimes you'll come into contact with, and it will make your birthing experience, which should be the most special time in your life, a negative one. So that's something that we're not willing to compromise on. I know that our midwife sees us as more than a dollar sign. They know who we are and they get to know us, and that's huge to me. In a birthing center, you typically don't stay the night. So after you have the baby, you stay for a few hours, make sure everything's good, you're healthy, baby's healthy, and you get to go home, and then they come to you. You should not be leaving your house the next day to go to an appointment. That's tough on moms, that's tough on the baby. It's just a lot. So, And then lactation consulting in a hospital is just literally somebody going by, look, that latch looks good, you're good, you don't have any questions, okay, we're not going to give you much information. Bye. People leave the hospital without knowing what it's like to breastfeed, without knowing that if you are bleeding and have sores, that the latch is not correct. If you don't have milk right away, it's okay. You should have colostrum. If you should not be pumping the first few weeks. You should not be offering pacifiers. A lot of people don't know this, and I know moms do this, and that if that works for you, fine. That's perfect. But a lot of people don't even know. They're not offered the information. That's something that's really sad. And putting the baby to the breast every 2 hours in their first few days is crucial for your body to start producing, for the baby to know a schedule, and so on. So that's something that's not always shared in the hospitals with the lactation consultant, unfortunately. There are plenty of women that go home without knowing what to do, what to expect, who to contact if they have an issue. You know, there's plenty of places that I'm going to bring up at the end, one that I know. And my midwife specifically has Zoom chat for lactation consulting. And I just think that's brilliant because you can be in your home having an issue like, hey, I need help now. Like, what can I do? And she's there, or somebody else in the birthing center is there to help you. So that's amazing. Whereas hospitals are typically like, oh, you're not producing enough milk the first few days. You need to give them formula. We're going to give them formula. No, it's my child. It's my choice. I think a lot of the time, my other issue with hospitals don't make you feel like you're in charge or you're educated. They get annoyed sometimes when you come in with a birth plan. They're annoyed sometimes when you come in with education about the subject, about your baby, about your body. They want to be able to tell you and be in control, when really you should be in control of your own health and your own opinion in your own body, as well as your baby's. And another huge difference for me is I cannot stand having my blood drawn. I've just had such negative experiences. Every time has been so bad. But when I went to the birthing center, I was like, oh, I don't want to have my blood drawn. I don't want to have my blood drawn. I did not feel a thing. I did not bruise. It was the most amazing blood sample I've ever given. So I just love that about them. They're so gentle, so honest, and such a healing vibe in the center. And that to me is completely worth it. And the other things that I want to bring up is that La Leche League, there should be one in every county. Every city it might be, but I know for sure every county has a La Leche League. So if you're struggling with breastfeeding, you can contact them, and it is free consulting. They can help you. I believe they're all volunteers, but from what I've heard, they're super helpful, super great. I just want to give you that resource because some people out there might be watching this needing that. So, and then know what's best for your baby. Do your research and speak up. Speak up for yourself. Speak up for your baby. Make sure you're ready to stand up because that's important, especially in a hospital. And like I said before, some hospitals do have midwives, and you can hire a midwife or a doula to support you while you're in the hospital. Sometimes that is so helpful because, you know, you're depending on your husband or your partner or even like your sister or your mom, and sometimes they don't know. They're there for you to support you, but they're afraid a little bit too. They're not going to show it to you, but it's a hard thing for everyone involved. So having somebody that's going to be able to stand up for you and know your rights and know what's right and wrong can be super helpful. My midwife specifically has a podcast and social media. She offers a lot of advice for people who are going to deliver in hospitals. That's what I love when I started listening to her podcast, is she offers advice not for just people coming to her center or a birthing center. She offers you things and information you can use when you're at a hospital. So I thought that was so amazing. I'll put her podcast down below so you can check that out. But I've been waiting a long time to do this video. I just knew it would be long, and I have such a strong opinion about it and such a strong feeling towards our birth center that I wanted to share with you guys. I hope this helps you. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. And just thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for following us on our journey. And if you want to connect with me on social media, please feel free to do that. My Instagram will be here and my Snapchat will be here. And also my YouTube page has links as well. So like if you like, please subscribe so you don't miss me. And thanks for watching. Bye!